Now, really, the next 3 are gonna make it or break it for this palette for me because there's only 5 shades. Happy video day, guys, and happy Make Up Your Mind day. We're gonna be doing another Make Up Your Mind today, and I'm actually pretty excited for this one, guys, because I actually was not gonna film today. Today is not a filming day, but honestly, I need anything right now to help me feel distracted from anything. So I'm actually happy to film today, and we actually had a brand new eyeshadow palette that just got announced from Natasha Denona, and this is going to be called her Mini Retro. I was so excited to see this palette. It's going to be $25 US. It's actually, I believe, launching March 31st, which may be today. I actually really like this color selection. So when I saw it, I went, ooh. And I was honestly gonna just go ahead and buy this palette and not even do a Make Up Your Mind on this one because it just literally just made me go, oh, I need you, you know, because I don't know. Anytime Natasha Denona releases these mini palettes, she always gets me. Like, I always want them. So I automatically was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna buy this right away. But I decided, you know what, let's do a Make Up Your Mind, because there's a lot of you guys out there that love to see this series because you like to see if I'm able to find the colors in my collection, and also because you guys may have similar palettes to me, or you have different palettes that it inspires you to go through your palettes and actually see if an eyeshadow palette is really worth it for you to pick up by determining what do you have in your collection already. Do you already have these colors? And then after you swatch it, you kind of look at it and say, am I actually going to use this color story? And it really gives us a way to kind of gauge whether we really need to buy something or not. So I was excited to do this one, and yeah, I went down, sat down, started swatching away, and I think I was able to do something pretty interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into everything right now. But if you guys have never seen me before, my name is Christina Brooke, and I would love it if you would want to hit the subscribe button. What we do is we talk about makeup and fashion. If you guys like any of those two things, you're probably gonna really like the channel. Let's go ahead and let's just get into it right now. So the first thing is the eye look that I have on right now is a look that you probably could create if you buy this new Mini Retro, because like always, I used certain colors that I swatched on my arm that are similar to the ones that are inside of this Mini Retro. So when I was trying to mimic this palette with palettes that I currently have, I have to just give a disclaimer. Natasha Denona does have a pretty interesting formula in some of her formulas here. So I'm not really looking for formula. I'm looking for color selection. I'm looking to see what's the color story, because I kind of want to get an idea if I really want this. So now let's go ahead and let's get into it, because I think you guys are going to be interested to see what I found. And yeah, let me show you guys the results. So this is the results. Now, the first thing that I have to say is I do not think that I found every single one of these colors like spot on. And that's actually really exciting for me, because I do feel, and I'm really hoping I'm right on this, that some of these colors are unique. Unique in the sense that I don't feel like I have seen these 50 times over in existing palettes that I've collected over the past few years. So I'm excited for that. And I do feel like for the size of the palette, I had to jump into a multitude of palettes to find this mini. So these are two really positive things. These are things that make me go, huh. So I did have to jump into 4 palettes. 4 palettes for 5 colors. So I jumped into this mini from Huda Beauty. This is the Mini Obsessions in Nude Light. Then I jumped into my Viseart Paris Edit, which, if you guys know, I combined my Paris Edit. So inside of this palette, down here is the Paris Edit. Down here, up here is the Dark Edit. So it's in the Paris Edit. Then inside of this palette right here from Charlotte Tilbury, I actually found a color in here. This is a Starry Eyes to Hypnotize. And finally, one color is jumping out of Natasha Denona's palette herself. This is the Safari palette. So those are the 4 palettes. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the first color. So for the first color, okay, so this is the first color that I'm going into. This is the first one I need to find, and it caught me for a loop. I literally was going through a bunch of different palettes. Now, I've told you guys this in the past. I am not like a pinky fan. I don't have many pinks in my collection. So it is going to be a little harder for me to find something in this like pink color family. Maybe if you guys just finished buying her Love palette, maybe you have this a little bit more than me, but I didn't buy that palette because, like I said, pinky purpley, like that style of pinky purpley, it's not my thing. You know, I actually like this color selection a little bit better. So when I'm looking at this one, I feel like I like this tone of pink, and I started looking through my palettes like to match this identical. and I was having a really hard time. I went into the Viseart Paris Edit and I felt like those colors went a little bit too peach, and then there was a pink in there that was just like way too pink. What I ended up having to do was jump into this palette right here from Huda Beauty. You guys have been seeing this palette pretty often lately when it comes to these spring collections. I feel like Huda, when she created these, she was pretty on trend for what was going to start happening in spring. And when I look at these, the only color that I was really like intrigued by that I thought looked similar was this one over here. Because when it's swatched, it comes out with this really light pink kind of tone. But then I felt like it was too pink. So what I did was jump into this color down here and just dab it together. And when they mix together, I feel like maybe you're getting a little bit closer to what is inside of this Natasha Denona palette. Now, looking through a bunch of different palettes, I'm telling you, I like kind of just started going through them and like really trying to find, and I didn't feel like I could really find this color because it went more pink than I have. I have a lot of peaches or like colors that go a little bit warmer. I looked at this tone and how it shifted more pink. I really ended up realizing I really don't have this spot on tone. I could create it semi using this palette, but I do feel like I didn't find it. So the first tone in here, I literally, I swatched through so many palettes trying to find this pink, and I was like, okay, like I don't have it. And I like this color. What I'm seeing in the palette and in the swatch, I actually like this tone of pink. It's a pink, but it's not like pink. So when we go on to the second color, now the second color for me is not like extremely a unique color. It feels like it's a color I have seen, and I feel like inside of the Viseart Paris Edit, there's this color right here, which is kind of like a taupe, but it has like a pinky taupe undertone. I don't know how to describe it 100%, but I feel like this tone may be a little bit darker than the one that's inside of the Natasha Denona palette. But from what I'm looking at in the swatch, I feel like this is one that I'm like, okay, I don't feel 100% I found, but I do feel like I have something pretty similar. And I do love the Viseart formula as well. So for that tone, I'm like, it's not gonna sell me on the palette. However, I do like the color selection so far. So I need to move on to the next three. Now, really, the next three are gonna make it or break it for this palette for me because there's only 5 shades. And I've told you guys this before, $25, it's not cheap for a mini. It's cheap for Natasha Denona, but for a mini, it is pretty expensive. So the next 3 really gotta make me buy this palette. Like, it has to be stuff that I'm like, ooh. So when I went on to the next one, I actually jumped into this palette from Natasha Denona, and it's called Rhino. This color Rhino right here, ooh, it looks so similar. I feel like the one in the new palette may lean more green, and this one might have a little bit more blue. So the reason that it's intriguing me is because I really love this Rhino color. It's the color I have basically all over the lid. I really like this one. Now, I wouldn't mind this being a little bit more green, and that would interest me because I don't have many greens. When I was trying to find this exact tone, I looked through a few different palettes, and I'm telling you, I'm super scarce on green. Like, green is just, why don't brands release green palettes? But not like a green palette, like a palettes that have like pretty greens in it. I don't understand it. But I found it basically in the Rhino color. I really like this color, Rhino. I do feel like the twist that she put on it inside of the mini is going to be a little bit different from the swatch. The new one is going to be a little bit more green, and the Rhino one's going to be a little bit more blue, and you may be able to tell a little bit of a difference. Is it going to be super exaggerated? Maybe not. But that being said, don't have many greens. So the bonus on this is going to be that I don't have many greens, and I think it's going a little bit more green, whereas this Rhino one may be a little bit darker and leaning a little bit more blue. We've got 2 colors to make me say yes. And Charlotte Tilbury is where I found the last 2 colors. So the last 2 colors I did pull from the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize, which you guys know is one of my favorite palettes. I'm obsessed with this. I really, really, really enjoy it. Now, the next color is super gorgeous. Like, when I looked at this palette, I went, who are you? Where did you come from? And how do I buy you? Like, ASAP. When I saw this color, I was like, it almost looks like it's a silver, but it almost looks like it has a little bit blue in it, but it also looks like it has a little green in it. Very interesting color. The only thing that I can see that looked similar was this one right here in the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize, and it's inside of the Seduce Glow. Now, this, when it swatches, goes, it almost starts to turn into like a gray blue. I mean, if you guys can see it here, blue in the pan, but when it's swatched, it goes more gray. And I'm almost feeling like the color might be similar. However, what I will say is in the Starry Eyes to Hypnotize, this color right here, I love it, but I always felt like it was a little bit lackluster, like it needed a little bit more. I like the color, but I've always wanted it to be more oomph, you know, like I wanted it to give me more. And I always felt like it didn't give me enough. I like it, but I wanted it to give me more. So now I'm thinking Natasha Denona's formula usually gives me a pretty good payoff. Like it usually gives me a lot. So what interests me mostly about this color is that I really like the color in the Starry Eyes, and I feel like this is going to look similar. I feel like it might have a little bit more green to it than blue, and it might give me that oomph that I wanted. So I'm interested. I'm still interested. So the last color is also another one that kind of intrigued me. It looks to me like it is one of those like topper shades. Like now I remember inside of Starry Eyes to Hypnotize there was also this color right here that reminds me of it. It's this one right here in Seduce Glow. When you look at it in the pan, you think it's going to be like this gray metallic, but it's not. It's almost like a topper, and when you put it on, it kind of is sheared. It's like a sheared grayish cream color, and it leaves you like little sparkles everywhere. And that's kind of what this is reminding me of. I'm getting like a vibe that these two might be going in the same direction, but I feel like the one in the Natasha Denona is going to give me a little bit more vibrancy, whereas the one inside of the Starry Eyes, when I do use it, one of the things is I feel like it's a little bit more subtle. You know, it gives you like that little pizzazz, but it's not giving you like a lot of pizzazz because, you know, Charlotte, she kind of tailors her palettes to not be like so in your face. They're very easy to use. So when I want to have like that oomph, like I feel like that doesn't give it to me that much either. It does give me beautiful eye looks, especially for day looks and for the office and stuff. I love it. But sometimes I just want that added like, you know, and I feel like that color is one of those that I love the color. I think it's so cool because it adds a little sparkles, but I wish it would just give me like so many sparkles, you know? Or I wish it wouldn't, and then I wish it would. So I wish I had like both. So we're going into a good direction here. So what I have to say is I do not feel like I didn't find these shades. I feel like I was able to find things that when I put them on the lid, I may be able to mimic very similar looks. Are they going to be exactly to the T, the right color? Maybe not. But are you going to be able to really tell a difference? You may not be able to. However, there is certain aspects of the Natasha palette that's really calling my attention, like the way that I know her metallic formula gives me that I feel like I'm missing a little bit in the palettes that I found the colors. So at the end of the day, guys, I have made up my mind. I am going to purchase this new mini Natasha Denona palette. And I'm going to tell you, one of the main reasons why is because I like the color selection and I like them together in one palette. I think this is going to be a really easy, very convenient palette for me because I like the color selection. And even if this rhino color ends up being more similar than I think it is, like I think it might actually be kind of different, it might lean more green, I still like the colors together in the palette and in this mini version. I think it's adorable. So I'm excited. I actually really want this. So if you guys are watching this, then you probably know that that means I will be having a first impression on it coming very soon because I will be ordering it. So I'm happy about that. So I want to know from you guys down below, what did you guys think? Did you guys find similar hues? Is this like a color story that you would go out and buy? Even if you found similar hues in your collection, would you still go out and buy it because you think it's just like adorable and you want to have it in its own little palette? I want to know that from you guys down below. And also, don't forget to tell me if you found better colors than the ones that I found. Which palettes were they? List them down below. People love to read where other people find the colors because, you know, not everybody has my palette. Some people might have your palette at home. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you guys haven't done so already. I was going to post my Mulan Make Up Your Mind this week, but because of the Natasha Denona new release, I decided to push it back till next week. So most likely next week, you guys are going to be seeing the Mulan one. So if you guys are excited for that, don't forget to give me those thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.